Welcome to Sumita Roy's English Classroom. I'm Professor Sumita Roy, and on this channel, you are learning how to speak and write English properly, correctly. Today, we have a video on the best way in which you can write an email. But before I begin, I would like all of you to subscribe to this channel. If you are interested in learning good English, subscribe immediately. Watch all the videos. More than 70 videos have already been uploaded. Watch all of them fully. Watch them again and again. Like the videos. Whichever video is helping you to learn better, to improve yourself, please like and comment. Your comments help me to prepare the kind of videos you want. So give suggestions, ask questions in your comments, and tell me what you learned from this video. Every video you watch can have your comments to help in the future videos. Also, share with all your friends, whoever is interested in English. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. So these 5 points I want all of you to remember: to subscribe, to like, to share, to comment positively, to comment, and also to tell me what all you want to learn through this channel. Let us now come to how to write an email. This is an offshoot of letter writing. There was a time when in English writing skills, we would teach or we would learn only how to write letters. Today, emails have become very common. You might write an informal email to a friend, to a person whom you know very well, or you may write formal emails in your workplace or in jobs, wherever you want to do business, you want to talk to your customer, etc. So different types of emails are there. First, we need to learn how the email should be structured. Now, when you have an account in a particular email ID, suppose you have one in Google or you have in Yahoo or Hotmail or any of the other varieties which are there, it gives you a structure already. The from address is your email. The person who's sending the email is from where the email originates. That address is already there. When you go to your own inbox and say compose, you have to press a button which says compose. Then the entire page comes. And once you have that page, already your email address is there. Now there is a column, next column is recipient. Recipient would mean to whom you are sending that email. Please remember that you have to know the email address of the person or persons whom you want to send it to. It might be an email which you're sending to one person, or it might be an email which you're sending to a group of people. All of them have different email addresses. So you need to put the email address of each of the persons you are sending the mail to. Suppose you want to have a copy. Then in the email, there is a column CC. There you mark a copy to another person. Suppose you are sending an email to a group of people and the person who's in charge of this whole group needs a copy. So you mark a copy to that person who's the leader of the group, and in the main recipients, you put the names of you put the email addresses of all the people who will receive the email. If the recipient is only one, you have no problem. Sometimes we don't want everybody to know to whom the email is going. Sometimes you want to get that email into your own inbox. Then there is another column that is BCC, back copy. The back copy remains in your inbox. It doesn't go to the sent items only, but one copy is there in your inbox. You don't have to search in the sent items. So just which email addresses you need to send the email to is the first thing you need to decide. Before you start writing anything, please make up your mind as to who it has to go to. So as you're watching the video, if you open your own email page, you will find that there is a column for recipients. If you get the recipient's email wrong, even by one alphabet, even by one letter or one number, then your email does not reach them. It bounces back to you by saying recipient not found. Suppose you are sending it to an email of a person whose inbox is full. Again, it bounces back by saying mail could not be delivered. So you need to ensure that these things do not happen. Therefore, recipient is important. Very often when I get email, they might say SUMITHA. Now my email is not TH, it is TA. So there, the addition of a single letter makes it a wrong email. I'm just giving you an example to make you understand how important it is. Now, if you have the number 123 along with some letters, some alphabet, then, instead of saying 123, they write 133 or 113 or 112. Again, it doesn't reach you. So very important is to pay attention to the recipient. Now come to the next line. If you see in your email structure, in the page which you have opened, I hope you have opened it now, or you can, take a notebook and start making an email in a draft form. You have a line called subject. The subject should be 2 or 3 words, a phrase at the maximum. I get thousands of emails where the subject is the whole letter. They say, Madam, we want to learn English. Our English is not good. Madam, we are suffering because we don't know English. Please teach us English. All this is there in the subject. The subject is so long. Because the email is flexible, we are able to do that. The space is flexible. You have so many characters which are allowed. That is not a good subject. You say, want to learn English. Want to learn English. 4 words are there. That is your subject. That is the end of your subject. It need not be a complete sentence, I want to learn English. That's not necessary. Then you can say, please help me. There also, please help me, 3 words. Need help, 2 words. In this way, or need help with English, these are all possibilities. When you are writing to a person from whom you want to learn English, suppose you're asking a person to come and speak at your organization, in your school, your college, your office, your factory, you're inviting a person to speak. So you say invitation as a speaker or invitation as a resource person. Invitation is enough, or invitation as the chief guest. That is enough for the subject. Please do not make the subject 1 or 2 sentences. Please do not use a full long sentence with many words in the subject. Don't use 10 sentences. That is not the body of the email. That is only the subject of the email. Very often, people who receive many emails do not look at the email if the subject is not interesting. If the subject is clear, if the subject attracts their attention, then they look at it. Suppose an email comes to you saying a business proposition. Now, if you are a businessman, you are interested. Somebody has given you a business proposition. You immediately open the email. Suppose somebody says, I would like to tell you something about a business proposition. You do not have the time or the attention span to read the whole sentence. It's a good, correct English sentence, but you don't have that much time. You don't have that much attention because on that day you have received 20 emails. You're just glancing through the subject of the email, which is there. If you look at the page where all the emails are listed, you will find that the subject is mentioned. So, looking at the subject, business proposal, you immediately open that email. So, your subject should clearly say what you want. Suppose a bank is sending you an email, then you say statement, your bank statement. That means they are sending you the statement. Your tax invoice, they are sending you a tax invoice. Thank you for banking with us. That means you have a transaction, they're going to give you the details of that transaction, and there they have started by thanking you. Looking at that mail, you immediately know what the contents of the mail might be. Suppose you want to sell something or you want to buy something, then your subject itself should be very clear. You should say that, a new product in the market, if you say, then people are attracted. Okay, new product. Let us see what the new product is. Or you say, order for a some product which you want to order. So you want to order some medicines, so you say order for these medicines. You just mention the word medicine, and then you give a list in the email. So your subject is very important. Sometimes because of a bad subject, your email is never read. Now we come to the structure of the email. You have qualities like clarity, very clear language should be used. You have qualities like brevity. That means it should be very brief. You should not give in the body of the email great long details. Unnecessary details you should not use. Clarity, brevity. Next is etiquette. Etiquette would mean that you use a formal language. You don't use abbreviations, short forms. When you want to say you, don't say you. That is the alphabet U. You say YOU. Don't say GR and number 8. You say great, GREAT. You have to be very polite and use the language which is formal. So these 3 points you have to remember before you start your email. I've told you now all the background. Font size is very important. You must have in your email the default font size which is readable by the person who's receiving. Even if you read it on your smartphone, it should be readable, that font size. If the font is too big, it means it is impolite. If you use 14 size font, that is considered to be very impolite because it hits your eye. If you use 8 or 10, then it is so small that a person who needs eye correction cannot read it clearly. So a good font size is 11 or 12. The style also you can choose so that it is easily readable. A very decorative style of font is not good at all. These are all things which you have to remember before you start your email. Now let us begin the email. Although your email already has the date and time when it is being sent, but in all formal emails, we must mention the date. So you start by mentioning the date. Since we are all using computers, we usually use the left hand side for writing. So flush on the left hand side, first line, you mention the date. Whatever the date is, the date, the month, and the year. Sometimes you can also use another format, and that is you put the month before, then you put the date, and then you put the year. The year always comes last, but month can come with date next, or date can come with month next. Remembering to write it on the top column of your left hand side. Now you begin the email by addressing the person, whomever you're writing the email to. Address is called salutation. So you can say, suppose you are addressing a person whose designation you know. So you say the director, or you say the manager, or you say the sales in charge. All these possibilities are there. Suppose it's an unknown person. You don't know what the designation or the name is. It is fine to say, dear sir or dear madam. Now, the word dear does not mean intimacy. I remember in a class once, somebody was saying, oh, madam, that person has called me dear so and so. In English, dear is a polite form of salutation. It's a polite form of address. We also have expressions like dear me. Dear me does not mean I love myself. Dear me is an exclamation was used maybe 50, 100 years back very, very commonly. That means surprise. Dear me, to, express that you are amazed. This word dear can be used with dear Mr. Rob, or dear Mr. Smith, or dear Mr. Rao, or dear Mr. Uh, you know, Patil. All these names, if you are mentioning the person's name, Mr. and then if it's a lady, you say Miss, MS. The form MRS is rarely used today after we had gender neutrality in language. That means we don't specify the, gender in two different forms. Like for men, we have Mr., for women, we have Miss, MS. This form you can use. If you know the name of the person, that's wonderful. If you know the full name of the person, you can just use that name. Suppose you're writing a mail to me and you would like to mention the full name. Suppose somebody who's known to me writes, then they need not write Dear Sumita Roy. They can just write Sumita Roy. Then, suppose I book a flight ticket, then the person from whom I've booked can just say, Sumita Roy, your ticket is confirmed. That is the email which they write. It's a formal email, but there is no word dear in that. So, dear sir, dear madam, usual forms. Suppose you are submitting your resume, then you need to write a cover letter. And there, the cover letter can be an email where you are starting to say that uh, to the HR manager, in which case you have to say, dear sir slash madam. You don't know whether the HR manager is a man or a woman. These are all possibilities which you have. Now, the first paragraph which you write, after saying dear so and so, put a comma. Whatever you have written, please put a comma. There, punctuation is very important. Now, dear also started at the end, the left hand side. Some people like to use a paragraph indent. Paragraph indent means that you leave a small space, one tab you leave, or half an inch you leave, whatever. Your computer itself tells you that if you just put one tab, the email, the paragraph starts a little inside. The next line will start from here, all lines from here, but the first line from there. But that also is not necessary. If you give para spacing, suppose between two paragraphs you give a space, line spacing is lesser, paragraph spacing is more, then there is no need to indent the paragraph. Indent means put it a little inside from the margin. The margin is here, all lines start from here, first line starts right a little inside. This, if you do, either of the two paragraph forms are accepted. Now you start an email if you have, if you are doing business with a person, you're writing to a business, to your customer, etc. Then you can start with a polite beginning by saying, hope this mail finds you well. Hope this email finds you well. Then you start by saying, as discussed, I would like to give you a demonstration of our new product. This person is a client who's going to buy your new product. Then you have said that you want to give a demonstration. In the next paragraph, you can say that if you let us know the convenient date for your for me to give you the presentation, I will be very grateful. Polite language. You start by saying that if you can give me a date convenient to you, I will be very grateful. Convenient for the presentation. You can make it very clear. Then you say, thank you, or you say, best regards. Today, in letters and emails, we do not use the form thanking you. Thanking you form is a very, very old form which is no longer used. Please keep this in mind. Very often we find the form thanking you with a comma, but that is not the correct one. If you want to say thank you, please say thank you and then put a full stop. And then you say yours sincerely if you want, and comma, then your full name, your full designation, address and phone number, contact details. Your email ID is already there. Your phone number is to be there at the end of your email. That is how you would write your email. The ending can have thank you, or it can have regards. It can have warm regards. It can have best wishes. It can have the word best, just best. Wishes is understood. These are all the ways in which you can end your formal email writing. If it is an informal, intimate, close friend email, you can end by saying affectionately, with love, or with warm, affection. All these forms can be used, but that is only to friends and family, not to others. You cannot use these forms. The commonest form of ending is sincerely. The word yours sincerely, the word yours is not really necessary. Very often, sincerely is enough. You start with capital S, write sincerely, and put a comma. If you write yours, then your Y is capital, YOURS, no apostrophe. Somebody in the comments has asked about apostrophe. I will do a whole video on punctuation. But please remember that YOUR apostrophe S is wrong. It is not correct. YOURS should be a continuous word with no apostrophe anywhere before S or after S, no apostrophe at all. I hope I have said this enough times, because this mistake is made hundreds and hundreds of times, where apostrophe looks smart, so they put it wherever they feel like. Yours has no apostrophe. It is a single word. If yours is Y capital, then sincerely should have S small, not capital S. Yours capital S capital, that is not correct. Yours sincerely, S becomes small. You remove yours sincerely has a capital S. And after that, if it is yours sincerely or sincerely, please put a comma and then write your full name, not your pet name, not your nickname, not your first name, but your full name and your full designation, because this is a formal email. Even if your name and designation are known to the person whom you're writing to is your regular customer, but still you give your full name. Suppose you are writing on behalf of your organization, then you have to give your designation. Who are you? Are you a representative of the company? Are you the manager of the company? Are you the vice president of the company? Who are you? This is very important for you to write. Are you a technician, or are you the back end person? These are all necessary. Then your phone number is also necessary, because very often communication is through telephone. And in the telephone number, please remember that your country code is important, because the email can be sent to any part of the world. Therefore, if you just give your number without the country code, it is not clear. If that email has gone to somebody else in another country, that person cannot contact you without your country code. So the entire phone number includes the country code also. This is the structure of an email. You can practice by writing a few emails. You can write one email to your friend about your progress in learning English. You say, I've started learning English, and write 2 or 3 paragraphs about how you're doing it and what you're doing. You can write a formal email. You can write an email to the channel by saying that in this channel, to the person who's running the channel, these are the suggestions we would like to give. Some of my students are giving suggestions. So earlier, I uploaded the video on Macbeth, because that is there in many school exams, I'm told. So school students can see it. It's a simple video. People who are also learning English can see those videos to learn advanced vocabulary, advanced structure, ideas, grammar, etc. So you can, write by saying that these are the kind of videos which we want to see. You can say you want to learn language, you want to learn punctuation, you want to learn vocabulary, grammar, whatever. That email you can write. Suppose you're a person who's working in a company. You're working in the corporate. So you write an email to your team member, to a person who's working with you on a project. Then what is the progress of the project? What is that person's role in the project? What are you doing in the project? These things need to be mentioned in that email. Suppose you are calling people for a meeting, then you send it to multiple recipients. I told you, in the recipient column, you write 3, 4, 5 email addresses. And then you tell them that the meeting to discuss the changes in the structure of this company is scheduled for such and such a day at such and such a time. All of you are expected to attend because you are the person in charge of the meeting. So you take a formal tone, a tone which is, saying that it is compulsory to attend. But always be very polite, be very decent. So the structure of an email starts with the recipient's address, the subject, the date, the salutation, 2 or 3 paragraphs in the email's body with a conclusion saying thank you or best wishes or warm regards, and ends by saying yours sincerely or sincerely, very rarely faithfully, not very common, and then your full name and your designation, your address and your phone number. If you remember this structure, it should be fine. But you need to practice. Please remember that you can watch this video 3, 4 times if you are getting doubts about writing. But please don't write the entire email in the subject column. Please don't leave the subject column empty, or don't say, "Hi, ma'am." "Hi, ma'am," I will not open that email at all. Because what interest does "Hi, ma'am" or "Hello, ma'am" have for me? It doesn't. But when you appeal to me by saying, "Please buy this," it will be very beneficial for you. Or if you say that I'm eager to order this from your company, then immediately, because I want to do business, I will open your email. So your subject is very important. The structure of the body of your email is very important. All these I have tried to tell you. If you have doubts, write in the comment box. I try to answer your comments, but it takes a little time. It takes a few days. If you have learned something which you did not know, write in the comment box. I expect if there are 1,000 people watching the video, I expect 1,000 comments. I expect 1,000 likes. If 10,000 are watching them, I would like 10,000 comments. Because if you comment, that is communication between us. That is conversation between us. I can't see you, I can't meet you, but we can communicate through the comments. So please watch all the videos. Many of you are asking questions about videos which have been uploaded already. So please go to the entire channel, watch all the videos, choose whichever you want to watch first, and then comment on all the videos which you see. Thank you and all the best.